Hey, so I know we haven't talked in a while. I haven't been on here. I haven't filmed. I have filmed. I haven't posted on here in quite some time. And even now, it doesn't feel right to just go and, post content. 2020 is just not the year. Um, it's not the year, is it? So I wanted to come on here, and even if, even with just 50 subscribers, I still feel that even that platform is too big of a platform to stay silent or to not touch on subjects at hand. And I thought long and hard about how to do that, because not only am I very white and I don't want to amplify my voice, I'm also in Europe, so it feels, looking at America right now, it's sometimes I feel a disconnect. Like it's strange. And at the same time I do feel a connection, obviously. Bear with me if I can't really speak very well in this video. So I do want to get back into making YouTube content. I have an important video, or some important videos for me to make are still all the ADHD videos, because that's something I struggle with a lot these days. And with that comes a lot of anxiety and a lot of pressure and a lot of discovering myself. And I do want to talk about that, but at the same time, as I said, it's like, really, I have started filming a video a couple weeks ago when J.K. Rowling came out with her transphobic essay, basically, on Twitter, because it was just so, I don't know, it was like, no, not this now, not now, not this. During Pride Month, which is just a thing because of a black trans woman, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's not ridiculous, it's malicious, she's an asshole. Like that. I need to also come away from, move away from calling actions like this ridiculous, or, the timing bad. The timing isn't bad. She's a transphobic asshole. She wants to be this. This is her choice. It wasn't bad timing. It was exactly the timing this woman chose to do that. Whatever. So that really aggravated me, as it did many others, obviously. And so I started filming a video. Maybe I'll put like parts of that in. Hi, I'm coming to you with a wet shirt and a towel over my head and some bleach burns, okay? So don't even, it's whatever. Basically, this is our job to fix. This is like, racism is a white problem. This video isn't even about this. This video isn't even about this. I'm so sorry. Okay. All the racism that is still in me, that has been installed in me as a white person, that I was breathing for 29 years and still am. And I have to undo it. We all have to undo it. I just wanted to stress again that this is a white problem. This is a white people problem, and we need to hold each other accountable, and we have to like educate each other and stuff. So make sure that if you have a question, first you ask Google, and if Google can't help you, which I find hard to believe, but okay, then you ask white people to like answer for you, if they can, because we no longer need to just fucking use black work, okay, like, and not pay them. Anyways, I'm sorry, I'm having a heated day, and now I'm here because of J.K. Rowling. I mean, trans people have known for years that this woman is transphobic as fuck. It always takes a while until the cis catch up, right? The question of, can you separate the art from the artist or whatever, to which I always say, no, you cannot. So yeah. I just realized that I'm not wearing headphones or using a proper microphone. I'm gonna change all of that and this and stuff, okay? And I just never actually sat down and talked about it. And again, it's because I really don't know how to... I don't feel like I am the one that needs to be listened to. And at the same time, I know that it's important to share your platform, even if it's just such a small one. I do believe that every voice matters, even if it's a small platform. So first of all, just so that we're very clear here, all lives don't matter until Black Lives Matter. Okay, we need just so if you don't feel that way, I need you to educate yourself. And I also need you just to think, like, even just on a semantic level, you're really not making sense. You're really not making sense. There's, at this point, it's ridiculous. If you say, okay, just getting angry again. Okay, I'm just saying, if you're a white person like me and you still struggle to find your way in all of this, which I understand, I do too. There's so much unlearning we have to do, so much. And it's not, I feel like the focus has to be on the unlearning first. I know that lots of people still react very defensively, yeah, when I say that all white people are racist. I'm sorry to say that, and I mean it the same way that I do believe that all men are sexist. And it's not because all men are bad people and outwardly sexist or whatever, but I do believe that if you grow up in a system and are socialized in a system that is built for you to profit you on the back of other groups, then you growing up in that system as a person that is profiting off of it, you will learn messages and you will take up shit things like air. You just breathe them like air. Of course, I don't want to label myself racist, and I also don't want to water down other races, like calling other people because there's this thing like, oh, if you call all white people racist, then what about the real actual racists? And like I do see the thing there, like there is obviously levels to shit, and one big thing is the intent. I do not intend to be racist. I just know that not being racist is not enough. I have to be anti-racist, and that's because I need to be the antibody against the disease in my body that is racism, that I learned because I grew up white in a predominantly white country. I feel uncomfortable, obviously, saying all of these things, but we also have to think about if our white discomfort and, our feelings are really more important than the lives of other people. And also, that's really not just an American problem. It really isn't. It really is not. Okay, so what was I meaning to say? My neighbors are being very loud. What I mean to say by this is that if you're a white person like me, you do not have the possibility to be like, my work here is done. I'm not racist because I'm not out there doing racist things. The thing is, you might not know. Like people who are just outwardly racist, like overtly just calling people the N-word or whatever. I don't know where, the boundary from being an actual racist and not an actual racist, where the boundary is. But those are a minority. The problem is a big silent group of white people who think they don't have a problem because, they never wanted to be racist, or maybe they vote for the right party that isn't the racist party and shit. Like, we have to really ask ourselves, did we ever ask a person where they're really from? Did we ever tell a person that we like them because they look exotic? Did we ever want biracial babies because they're so cute? Do we feel a certain way when a black man is walking towards us on the street? And I mean, okay, that can be difficult because men are scary in general, so I don't know. So it's just like so what I want to say in this thing is that microaggressions are a thing. We have a lot more education to do than just be against racists, the people that we deem racist. And that's another thing. We don't get to choose what racism is. We don't, like, us white people, I don't get to make that decision. I don't get to make that decision just as much as I don't get to make a decision about something or somebody being transphobic as a cis person. It's the same way that I expect men around me to know that if I tell them a joke was sexist or some bullshit that they pulled was sexist, that I need them to be like, shit, I was not aware. I'm sorry. I'm gonna try and learn from this and not tell me that it wasn't sexist just because it wasn't intended a certain way. Intention really isn't, it's not a free, get out of prison free card, like in Monopoly. So another thing I wanted to touch on real quick is the whole discussion of defunding / abolishing the police. That is something that I have never quite understood. But I never, because like George Floyd's murder, that's a whole other topic, like how this particular horrific murder sparked such urgency around the globe. I'm not sure, and it's very shameful to think what it took. But it's not about my, whatever. The point is, we've obviously been confronted with the idea of defunding the police. Oh, what happens? What just happened? Sorry, my computer just went black. I don't know. So we've been confronted with that idea before. And so far I was always like, I mean, how should that work? And like, I don't know. It didn't immediately make sense to me. And I never took the time out of my day to research it. That is very embarrassing. So now that I have been educated by people online, I can wholeheartedly say that absolutely it is both possible and necessary to defund the police in most every place I know, I believe. I think in general, these changes that are being asked to be done are making all the sense in the world, and we do not need actual police murders to happen in order for that to be a better idea of things. I urge you to do your research. Really, I do urge you. I know it seems like if you're like me a couple months ago and you're like, abolishing the police, that seems like so out there. Like, I know it does, but trust me when I say it's not. It's really not that out there. What is out there is the actual police. Like having a body like this, that's what's out there. But we've been conditioned to think it's not. That's another way. See how I'm so used to having a police when even I don't feel safe in the vicinity of the police. And look at the whiteness. So I'm just like, whatever. I'm just saying, like, we are conditioned to think a certain way and to think of what's normal. And that's what I also mean when I say you have to look within yourself and I have to look within myself to pick apart the racism and the sexism and the homophobia and the transphobia and the xenophobia that is in there. Because I'm in a system and brought up in a system and surrounded by media who does not represent other people. It's a whole thing. Okay? I'm gonna link as many resources as I can find and come up with, and that, it makes sense to link down in the description box. And I really, really, really urge you to, if you do one thing, look up threats and threads with a D, not with a T, on Twitter, etc. that I will post down below, as I said, and articles and blog entries about why defunding the police is not only possible but necessary. Also, down below, we'll post a thread of a person whose name I just forgot, but they did a rebuttal to J.K. Rowling's essay she posted. So if you don't know what happened there, J.K. Rowling, the author of Harry Potter, has been known to be transphobic for a couple years now. She had retweeted some transphobic bullshit a couple years back, and everybody was like, no, girl, no. And now she just doubled double down. And I just, the time, again, I still like, I'm still falling for it, where I'm like, we know you think that way, but why would you choose to make all that known in your own tweets, not just retweets? Not that it really matters, but like really put your own voice out there in Pride Month, in a time where there's an actual pandemic also still going on. So you could use your platform to maybe get people to wear masks or to avoid gatherings, or, you know, you could use your platform for something smart, for something helpful, for something productive. Or you could gather, I don't know, donations for Breonna Taylor. Or you could, you know what I'm saying? Like, so the timing is, my first reaction was to think that the timing was just, you know, bad and like whatever. And, you know, it's not bad. It's on purpose. Anyway, so she retweeted an article or something that was talking about people who menstruate, who have periods. And she was like, oh, I wish there was a word for that, you know, people who menstruate. I think we had a word once, you know, being really fucking funny. So funny. So funny. It's almost like you had all your author's talent and you just poured it out into a couple Harry Potter books. And that was the end of that. Because clearly, if that's your level of writing now, and your level of funny, and your level of witty, I have bad news, okay? This is not... I thought we had a word for that. Was it woman? Was it... She just, you know, she was being an asshole, a silly asshole. She was trying to be funny, trying to say, like, oh. And I mean, it's just something that's really... I understand that you hate, like, that you're a hateful person, and an uneducated, ignorant, hateful person. I understand that. I kind of want to avoid the word transphobia, because it's not a phobia, you're just an asshole. But okay, so you are that, but like, it's 2020. Like, we literally have research out there. We know so much about gender these days, and it's just wrong to say that only women menstruate, or that all people who menstruate are women. It's just, are you reading the news? Like, please keep up, okay. So anyways, that happened, right? And I'm gonna link, and so she got a lot of backlash for her bullshit retweet, and then she doubled down with a couple other tweets, and then more backlash happened, but also, unfortunately, a lot of support, although, I mean, she was the one retweeting the support, so she obviously filtered it to be supportive. And she's just, it's ridiculous. Don't click on the essay. You don't have to read it. It's unnecessary. She's spewing actual literal bullshit that does not add up in itself even. It's really, she's gone by. But somebody, if you did read the article, or her essay, because eventually she was like, okay, let me write a whole thing, pages of pages. Maybe if you know somebody who read it and thought it had decent points in there, or if you yourself find yourself wondering about a couple things she mentioned, then down below is a thread of somebody on Twitter who point by point is going through that thing and debunking it, basically, and just, you know, also going through the rhetorics that she's using. Let's not forget she's a writer. Okay, so I wanted to post that. I also want to address two last things. And one would be that I know it can feel pretty helpless sitting in the middle of Europe, being just like, how do I help people, you know, in another country right now? And the answer is money. Many times I've donated what I could in the moment, but I also and I know there's lots of things you can donate to, and it gets very confusing and overwhelming. But there's also pages that I will post down below who kind of tell you what organizations are still accepting donation money, and what organizations have gotten enough for now and stuff like this. Obviously, you want to make sure GoFundMes are trustworthy, and everything. So, but you know, money travels fast and a long way. So that's a way we can do that. And I really think white people should open their purse right now. That is, of course, if you can at all. I know not everybody can. There's also a playlist on YouTube that I will also link down below, that if you don't have money, you can have that run. Basically, you can listen to it's a nice playlist, but you can listen to or just have it in the background. And all the AdSense from that playlist is going to Black Lives Matter. I will link that down below. Make sure though that you do not lower the audio in the YouTube app or on YouTube itself, because for some reason I think then it doesn't really count as a view. So just you can lower it on your computer, the audio, and just not within YouTube itself, and it still will work and give the AdSense. And also something it's another thing I'm telling all of these things, and I'm telling myself too. I'm not trying to preach. Okay, just as I said earlier, like, it's not an American problem. It's not an exclusively American problem. So there's definitely things to learn about our own countries. And we just recently here in Switzerland had a whole discussion about it's ridiculous. It's so there's this little dessert thing, like it's a chocolate thing, and it's just like basically the name of that candy thing is, sorry, my computer again, is a slur. And it just, you know, it's tradition to call it that way, which, what the fuck does that mean? So, like, that's the point with many slurs, that they've been used for some time and they were tradition. That's exactly why they need to go. I don't understand that. And so lots of companies who produce that particular candy thing, they gave it other names, which obviously you can. It's not that deep. I'm just saying, these problems are not American, and it's not gone just because it's over there, you know. But that's obviously a very broad statement, like, what the fuck. And at the last thing I want to say is something that I want to make sure that we, you know, from a linguistic standpoint, I'm a big believer that language is important in representation just as much as media is, or, you know, and we need to make sure that we frame racism the right way. Racism is not a black problem, it's a white problem. And it's not being black that is the problem. If anything, it's being black around white people. Racism is a white people problem. Not to, obvious. I mean, unfortunately, it's a problem that other people suffer from, black people, people of color. But it's just, let's not like talk about how we can make life better for black people, or, you know, we don't have to talk about black lives. We have to talk about white lives and why the fuck white lives are doing this to other lives. Am I making sense? It kind of reminds me of the whole, like, you know, remember the Me Too movement, and it was, we were talking a lot about the victims, and that's very important and stuff. But also assault, whether it be, you know, sexual assault or murder from the police because they're racist. It doesn't happen in a void. Like, victims of any sort, they're not a victim from some abstract thing and that made them a victim. No, they're a victim from a person who felt entitled to doing that. And we need to look at those people. There's the problem. So I just want to make sure that we don't, you know, don't ever think it's difficult to be a black person here or in America or whatever. No, it's not. That's not the problem. I mean, I don't want to, but you know what I'm saying? It's like, it's a white life's problem. Like, this is, what are we doing? Why is this still going on? What can we do? How can we educate ourselves? How can we get rid of all the racist stuff that's still within ourselves? I don't know. I have a hard time verbalizing what I mean, but it's like, just, it's like, okay, talk about the whole like I don't see color thing. Color is not the problem. The fact that people are of different color is not the problem. The problem is white people. The problem is the entitlement of white people. The problem is white supremacy. The problem is that white people have stolen people and their land for centuries, and that's the problem. White people, not any color, not, you know. I don't know, it's just something I saw, you know, in like online places and spaces and activism, where just from a linguistic standpoint, it's like, let's frame it properly. Like, this is not a black problem, it's a white problem. I feel very uncomfortable posting this because I'm very afraid that I said something wrong. But that's also a thing that I just have to get over my goddamn self. I can no longer just stop myself from speaking because I'm too afraid that I might make a mistake, because I will. And but again, it's less important than speaking up. And making mistakes is also okay as long as we're willing to learn from them. And yeah. But check the description box for tons of different resources. Yeah, I think that's all I have for now. I'm sorry, this was, I don't know. And yeah, okay. Thank you for watching.